All right. I guess we're rolling. So, I guess we need a clap. Maybe.
Get
I
a
don't know.
ringtone?
Get that audio, this audio. Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, I had a piece of paper written down with some questions on it, but I left that at home.
It's okay.
So, we're just going to roll with it. Hey, Bailey. I guess. Okay, how would you label yourself? Was the first question that I had.
In what sense?
Like, I would say you're a musician, comedian, welder.
Oh,
Like, yeah, like if you were gonna put labels on yourself.
whatever I do, I want to be the best at whatever I touch. It's like that's everything I try and say. It's gonna sound pretentious. Kim.com. Do you know who Kim.com is? He was the
No.
guy that started like Mega Upload. Dude lives in New Zealand. He's like the world's best Call of Duty player, pretty sure, for a while. But he said,
Talking.
oh,
Get closer.
pull
Yeah,
it sucker a little closer to your
pull it,
mouth.
sucker, a little closer to your mouth.
But he always said that whatever he did, he wanted to be the absolute best at. And I don't know. So just whatever I touch, I like to be really good at least.
So when do you think you adopted that attitude?
I don't know. I just like being better.
Let me spin it.
Yeah.
When did you pick up the guitar?
15.
15.
After
So
Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent got me
Okay.
into the guitar.
All right. And I mean, you went for it.
Yeah, I did. I was grounded a bunch in high school.
Fair enough.
I was grounded a ton, and per my ground, I couldn't leave the house a lot.
Yeah.
And so one way to kind of undermine that was to buy a guitar and just sit in my room and play. I got one when I was like 12, and I never really messed with it because it was actually that one right there.
Okay.
It's that acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And I didn't really care for it. It was really boring. And then I saw, I don't think YouTube was a thing yet. I think it was still Google Video.
Okay.
And at that time we had high-speed internet, so I would come home. I would watch Guitar Hero was really popular at that time.
Right.
And I would come home and watch a bunch of Ted Nugent videos. I don't know how I got into Ted Nugent. I think I was like hunting a bunch then. I thought he was a real cool guy. And I got into Ted Nugent a lot. I was like, man, that's really neat. And I don't know. I was just like, if a human being can do it, I can do it. You know, there's nothing special about that guy. He's got fingers and, everything else that I have, so
Right.
I can do it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just watched a ton of those.
Okay. And knowing you, Buckethead's a huge influence in your
Buckethead.
life. Like, when did that pick up and you started? I mean, would you say that your current style is significantly influenced by him?
Yeah, very much so. So Buckethead came in, like, I want to say it was like 2007-ish. I found out, of course, the Guitar Hero thing.
Yeah.
And I was just really kind of blown away by that.
Right.
By this time, YouTube existed. And I remember looking up Buckethead and thinking that was one of the weirdest looking. I thought it was very dumb too as well.
Right.
But the more I got into it, the more I was like, man, I really, for whatever reason, it just clicked, and I thought it was really cool and something different. But yeah, after that, it was pretty much history from that point forward.
Cool.
Got super into it.
So, and you've obviously played in a couple different groups.
Yeah, Bug being my favorite one by far.
Yeah. And I guess how would you classify that music? Like prog or just experimental?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funk experimental. Whatever.
Yeah, no real label, just kind of
literally
all
nothing.
over the place.
I know like a couple, like a lot. Most of the sets would have a couple country songs, couple, ballads, a couple heavy, just whatever.
Yeah.
There was no direction to it whatsoever.
Yeah, but just a bunch of jams.
Pretty much.
Yeah, not some random yells and stuff like that.
Pretty much.
No,
yeah.
no real lyrics or anything
mean,
like that.
You could tell if people didn't like it and never got the vibe. Nobody ever told us that we sucked, so we just kept doing it. Pretty much, just making more of the same crap.
Playing telethons, stuff like that.
Whatever gig we could land. We played as like a house band for the Trial Bar in Monroe for a while.
Okay.
Donnie could just call us up at really any given time, and it was just like we were all available, and so we'd just go up there and jam for like free beer, or if we would even get anything whatsoever, just whatever.
Yeah.
We were just playing music.
Just to play music.
It was just fun. So
that's cool. I guess so that it clears up something for me. Like we became friends in high school.
Yeah.
Like, cause you guess you went to West Ridge.
Yep.
Since you lived across the street from
Pretty
me.
much.
And do you recall how our friendship started?
I have no idea.
I don't really
I
either.
have no earthly idea.
I can only recall like just hanging out with you and
Didn't
Jamie.
we go to
and
Axis together? and
Axis,
stuff?
yeah, that's
I think that was probably it.
Yeah,
more
you're
than
probably
likely.
right. Yeah.
I think we all kind of started running with the same crew because I like the older guys that were at Axis that played music and stuff. I
Yeah,
thought that was really
for
cool.
sure.
They,
That always brought me into.
entertained me.
Yeah, and that's. I think that was kind of, and I know that like that was part of my demise of like leaving Axis is like I got close to those people and then they left and I was like, oh crap. And I mean I was too immature at that point in life to like realize that they had their own lives and that it didn't revolve around me. And
I
college.
understand.
But anyway, I guess the next thing that I wanted to talk about was you. I guess you are a welder now, yeah?
Yeah, so like
Fabricator?
at work kind of just I got the lucky end on that deal. So I'm not really needed as much for like super crucial stuff. Like my job's like as long as I maintain my little section over there, I can really kind of do whatever I want.
And you work for your family business?
Yeah, I do work for the family business, like every other good old Southern boy.
Hey, me too,
down
man.
here. But so I work on 18-wheeler trailers, which is very easy.
From head to toe.
Not much goes wrong with those things. There's not a whole lot that holds them together. It's some wood and metal and tires. They're very simple how they're put together.
Fair enough.
So they don't really go mess up that much. But the things that do mess up, so they need tires and the metal breaks and needs to be put back together. But we have a lot of like farm implement equipment as well because like my uncle does cattle and when my grandfather was still alive we were really big into cattle, so we were always and just whatever stuff breaks down, you can't always pay somebody else to fix it and they can just so I just kind of I don't know, I thought it was neat. It's kind of like guitar. It requires a lot of a lot of prep work, a lot of if you want to do it good. I take a lot of pride in stuff like that because a lot of the stuff that we do down at the shop, if I do it right, it'll last forever. There's all kinds of stuff down at the shop that's been there for years and years and years, and it's I built that.
I think that's definitely something that I've noticed about you is that you do have that ability to like slow down and be methodical about things.
Yeah.
To like fully learn and understand and like I mean obviously you're not a carpenter, but I've seen your back porch and it looks pretty good. You're boxing in those poles and stuff. Like
appreciate it.
I mean you did some shoddy concrete work, but it is what it is.
It's cheap. I genuinely hate carpentry work. It's super unforgiving, and I don't.
Yeah, no, I get that for sure.
You can cut welds.
So I guess would you say that you were like born into working with your hands, like you were?
Yeah,
you just had a shop to access
Definitely
at all times.
A tactile kind of guy. I like to put my hands on everything. I can't learn reading stuff. I don't. If you show it to me once, you don't ever have to show me again. I can pretty much figure it out from that point forward, and probably figure it out. That sounds so. Yeah, I can probably figure it out better.
Fair enough.
I can find a better way.
Yeah. So, I think it's interesting that you got into motocross as late as you have in life. Like the other people in my life that I've met started at an early age and like grew up on it. But I know that you've gone through a bunch of bikes and torn them down, built them back up. Did this start with dirt bikes, or I know you had a street bike at one point? Did it start with that, or what?
No, I got a four-wheeler forever ago.
Yeah.
I really got interested. So our family used to race dirt track cars a really long time ago, and they kind of gave it up when it got too expensive. Everybody had kids. And I always kind of wished, I was like, man, why didn't that happen whenever I was born, So I just kind of tried to always... I really wanted to get into dirt track racing when I was younger, and I really tried to save for it, but I realized really quickly, like, there's no way I'd have enough money to do any of that.
Right.
So I kind of scrapped that idea. But then a handful of times, like in high school, like I bought like some old stuff, like an old crappy four-wheeler, and you could put $40 worth of parts on it and turn around and sell it for twice what you paid for it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's pretty neat. So I did like a handful of those. Nothing to make money on, but I did make money on it.
Right. Just to get your hands dirty.
Pretty
and
much.
Learn something new.
Give me something to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So
keep you from doing homework.
Yeah, anything.
So I know you picked up the street bike was like salvage title and
Yeah, that actually got totaled when we were in high school.
Okay.
That bike got totaled, and yeah, basically it just sat in a garage for 10 years. I don't know, some really long period of time.
Yeah.
And whenever he went to move, and I was helping him move all of his stuff out of the storage.
You knew the guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when I went to help him move all the stuff out of the storage building, I was like, "Hey, how much do you want for that bike?" And I can't remember the I think he wanted like $1,000 for it. I was like, "I'll give you $700 cash for it right now." And anyways, went to the ATM, gave him $700, and he gave me the title to it. And all that was wrong with it was cosmetic damage. And I want to say like I just cleaned the carburetors out, and
So frame and everything, no
fine.
cracks.
Nothing wrong with it.
Wow,
Ran fine.
that's awesome.
But yeah, it had a little bit of cosmetic damage. Ordered some eBay parts, rode it for 2 or so years, and sold it for twice what I paid for it.
That's awesome.
So
But no street bike now.
no,
It's a scary world out there
that's
on 2
way
wheels.
too dangerous. It's too
Uh,
easy to be an idiot on one of those things. They
Yeah.
go 0 to 200 miles an hour like a flick of a wrist. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like it's,
See, whenever I had a bike, my fear was just like you're just like a speck in the road.
oh, without
Like,
a doubt.
I had a bright yellow bike, but
Without
I
a
still
doubt.
felt like I was totally hidden
And-
from the world.
And I had all that safety gear and stuff like that, and still, even with that, it's just you're one idiot running a red light away from not existing anymore. You
Yeah.
know, from just being wiped off the face of the earth. You know, as terrible as it sounds, it crosses. There's a handful of times where people would, pull out, and you'd be like, "Jesus, man, if
Yeah.
you were like 2 seconds quicker, you'd have killed me." So it's super terrifying.
Yeah, we've all seen the YouTube videos of this.
Oh yeah. I mean, I laid it over when I first got it. Actually, it had a problem with the brake calipers because it'd been sitting up for so long. The brake calipers were sticky,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what was wrong with it. And anyways, I attempted to ride it, and it just kept getting slower and slower and slower. Well, brake pads expand when they get hot, so eventually it just got to a point where they just locked up, and it just yanked the wheel out of my hand. I laid it over, so
That's tough.
cool. And I have a neat scar on my knee for the rest of my life because of that.
How fast were you going?
Probably about 30 or 40 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah,
so,
no fun.
Yeah, I slid across the pavement. It's amazing how, like greased lightning, you just slide across asphalt, going
Yeah.
that fast.
I guess while I'm talking, I've thought about this. Like in high school, I know you had the old Z, and I know you
Hell
personally
yeah.
put about 8 bumpers on it
Yeah,
easily.
yeah, that was another way. That was really, I think, the big thing with. Okay, so I had all the stuff to do it with. So I had all the materials, or I could get the materials for super cheap to build things with, and I had a welding machine. I just had to learn how to, make cookies out of all the ingredients I had.
Yeah.
Well, of course, everybody wants something nice for as little as possible. Well, I was
Right.
like, hey, I can have, I can't afford, and still, like even today, I don't want to pay that much money for that kind of stuff when I can
Right.
just make it my own. But yeah, that's where that came from.
Yeah. And it was always funny because you had a custom truck, but like you also did it.
Z.
Like, because everybody in West Monroe wanted the biggest, baddest, loudest truck, and whenever they
Had
were
it.
16 years
Had
old.
it, boy.
I don't know. Bubba may have had you when he cut
It's-
them cats out.
It was funny. Thing still rolls around here every now and then. I
Oh,
see
really?
it. I saw it one afternoon, and I followed it. Creepy enough. I was on the street bike, so it seemed, I followed the guy into his house, and he got can I help you, buddy? And
Yeah.
I was just like, man, no, this is my old truck. I just wanted to see it, And he's like, oh, cool, and he was doing something. Yeah, it was super ragged. It
That's
had like
wild.
400,000 miles on it.
Oh,
And the
man.
interior was just torn up. It wasn't nearly as nice. The bumper was still there. Bumper was still fine. Still had the goofy lift kit on it and everything like that.
Were they welded to the frame, or did you bolt them on?
Now I bolted the bumper.
Okay.
On. I tried to do it right, but I think he said the back bumper had fallen off of it at some point, and the transmission went out. And like I said, it's just like
God, I would hope so after 400,000 miles.
it's in super bad shape. But I keep seeing it for sale, like out in West Washita and various car lots.
Yeah, that's funny. So then you picked up dirt bikes
Yeah,
and started out with what?
trail bike.
Yeah,
CRF 230.
yeah.
Bought that one. That actually was just a total random thing. I was like in the market to look for one because I wanted to just like go play around on one. And I was like, surely I can pick one up that's blown up and just kind of fix it up. Anyways, found one on Facebook for $400. It was like some trail bike or whatever. And I was impressed just because it had an electric start. I mean, it'd turn over. I was like, all right, this is worth $400 here.
Yeah.
And it was in terrible shape. It's obviously had sat outside its whole life. It was in super rough shape. And anyways, so I picked it up and ended up tearing the motor down. It was a lot easier. I'd never actually torn into a motor at that point in time.
Yeah.
Couldn't have picked a better one. Super easy. Ended up tearing the motor down. It's
Two-stroke? Four-stroke?
Four-stroke.
Okay.
They ran it low on oil, and it just seized up.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I picked like the cheapest one possible. I didn't know any better, so like I bought just like a used piston off of eBay. I bought a used piston and rings and like a used cylinder and just slapped it on there with nothing else, and it worked. And I just kind of polished it up from that point forward. I ended up selling that thing for like $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, just put some black plastic, just fixed it up, and I rode that around for a while. Kind of cut my teeth on that one. Figured out how it works.
Just at WMX.
Yeah, there. I rode around at our camp a bunch. Just kind of getting the feel for it.
Yeah.
I think we took a trail riding a bunch too, actually.
Down in Pollock.
Yeah, I still wish I had it. Actually, it was a really good bike.
Yeah.
It was basically because it requires no maintenance,
Yeah.
just at all. It ran on a used piston for
Yeah.
God knows how long.
And you can stand up on it, or stand up, and you're
you could
definitely not
run-
even touching the seat.
You
I
could
know.
run the thing underwater and it'd be fine. I mean, they're tanks.
Yeah.
I actually saw it at a race a couple years back.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I noted because I had a light bar on the front of it because I thought it'd be really neat to run it late at dusk or whatever.
Mhm.
Anyways, I spotted it and I was like, hey, I recognize that bike.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it ended up. I guess somebody still has it. I don't know.
That's wild. LACC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the Columbia race.
So you've done that a couple times, raced
Yeah.
LACC.
Yeah.
But now you've upgraded to 450s,
Yeah.
or
if you
you
want
got
to
a
call
little.
it that.
Okay.
Yeah. I went from the little trail bike to a 125, which I was not good at, and I spent way too much money customizing that thing.
A little too big for that.
Yeah, I
huh?
lost my ass on that bike. So yeah, it was a great bike, and I was glad that I had it. But like you said, I started super late, so I really had to figure it all out. It's not like I grew up with it, so I had to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
The worst thing too is that as you're old, being older, I didn't have I had a job to go to, and I had school, and so I couldn't just get hurt all the time.
Right.
So I had to be kind of reserved on those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've kind of figured it out with that one. Kind of figured out how it worked, and I restored that bike. Like I said, I spent a ton of money on that thing from the ground up, bearings, bushings, seals, you name it, and totally customized it to look like a really old bike, but it was a fairly newer one. Ended up roasting the motor on it and crank like multiple times, and finally I just ran out of money, to be honest with you. I just had no more money to fix the thing, so I ended up selling it for like $500.
And you had like stripped it all down and painted the
Oh,
frame.
dude, had
and
the
everything.
frame painted
It was
purple
beautiful.
and green. It was a really cool bike. It's
Yeah.
still to this day like a cool. If I could go back in time, I would have just hung it on the wall.
Yeah.
It was a neat looking thing.
Yeah.
I was really kind of upset at myself that I sold, but I needed the money at the time.
Yeah.
I also have a bad problem of having too many coals in the fire. So at the time I had that, I still had the old bike, and I think I bought a 250 as well. So I bought a 252 stroke because I was ready to upgrade, and yeah, it was super clapped too. I didn't know anything. I didn't know any better.
Right.
I didn't really have anybody to tell me I figured I knew best.
Yeah.
So anyways, I bought some clapped out 250 from some dude in Simsboro for a great deal, for like $1,700 or something like that.
New tires.
Oh, I fixed his phone. That was it. So I got a little bit of, I think it was like $1,600, and I fixed his phone for him.
Oh, I'm sure you have some stories from that.
Yeah.
How long were you doing that?
3
Fixing phones?
years.
Yeah.
3 years.
3 years of customer service.
Man, that was a really lucrative business whenever we first got into it. Realistically, if you were to have gotten into it, what was 4 years ago? 2008, 2014?
Yeah.
If you were to if I could go back in time and wanted to be a millionaire, I would go back to 2013 and start fixing phones.
Yeah.
That
Because it
was
just exploded.
Oh my God, it was a cash grab. You could make ridiculous parts were super cheap. They were super easy to work on. I mean, it was just kind of a free for all. And all you had to do was just do a good job because there were so many people that did a crappy job.
Ah.
So when we first got into it,
Yeah, you always heard about the guy who knew how to do it, but he was doing it out of his
sucked.
bedroom
Yeah.
or whatever. It was super sketchy,
And it
and
sucked.
then a brick and mortar place pops up, and it's like, everybody's gonna go there.
I thought it was going to be the next big thing, and I was like super stoked that I got in on it really early. Like I was like, dude, this is going to be huge, and I'm going to make tons of money doing this. And like actually at the time, it was really. So I went from working in a fishing store to working as an electronics technician, and making like twice what I was making at the fishing store. So I was making way more money, and I lived. You know, it allotted me a way nicer life that way, and I enjoy the work too. You know, like. I got hired on as a technician. They hired me on to just solely, you know, you sit in the back, you just crank them out. You know, you learn how to do this well, and you know, and that worked really well for like 2 years, and it kind of slowly morphed into like something a little more sinister. You know, I don't want to like put anybody down.
Fair enough.
If they hear it, but yeah, it just kind of. The market just kind of turned upside down. Phones are now like what $1,500 a piece. You know, they're not. You can't pay for them with cash anymore. You got to finance them, and you know,
and they're that much. I mean, almost that much to fix if you break the screen.
Now there's
stuff.
now there's the big right to repair issues. That's software companies. They really got you by the neck because you own the device, but they own the software, and so Like with the new iPhones, everything's proprietary, so it's proprietary hardware. Oh, you ripped a home flex? Guess what? It'll never work again unless you take it to Apple. Because they have a Horizon machine which calibrates everything. It really sucked. It's really bullshit. That's what it is. And a lot of tractors, Case does it. John Deere does it.
Just taking out the little guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Not allowing them to work on
so
name brand stuff.
Well, Apple has them. I mean, there's an Apple right there. There's an Apple. Everybody's got an Apple. I've got one in my pocket.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem is like Apple has this massive amount of money that they can just continue to. If I go and file a right to repair lawsuit with Apple, if they paid me $1,000, I'd shut up. I'd never say anything about it. Yeah, whatever. I don't really care that much. But that's the problem is it's too big to fail now. So now I don't think you can go back. So that's kind of where that. So in a long sense, that's what happened to the repair industry. So it really kind of sucks. Now you can't fix them. If you want to fix a phone, even a screen, it's $300 or $400 or $500 to fix a screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I can get a new phone for that. No, you can pay for insurance and get one. You get a refurb, but then so unless you work for the company itself, you get screwed.
Yeah.
So that sucks.
Interesting. So jumping back into moto.
Yeah.
So you had gone through 125, 250, and then at this point you're still just like messing around, or are you racing?
I was taking it a little more seriously. Yeah, I started racing on the 125. I picked up the woods racing stuff on the 125,
which is the LACC
stuff.
series.
Yeah, and I did terribly at that too.
Yeah,
but it was fun. You got to
just like what C class or whatever it is, novice,
beginner. No, I signed up for novice because I was like, I'm a novice rider. I've been doing this for a couple years. I'm not a beginner at that. No, I was totally beginner at that. I got my ass handed to me.
And was that just like inexperience, or were you just like, not necessarily comfortable enough to go all out?
I just wasn't a good rider.
Yeah,
not at all. You know, these guys are just, as soon as I got there and I see like, oh shit, people take this seriously. You know, well with dirt,
see everybody's rigs and whatnot.
Yeah, with dirt track racing, it's Bubba and Luke pull up. A lot of those guys can pull up to the track like in a crapped out Duramax on a flatbed trailer and win. Those guys. But it's not how it works in motocross.
Yeah, you don't necessarily pull up to the track with your bike in the back of the truck and win.
Very
all
few
the time.
Jason Lawrences out there that can just get hammered the night before and go out there and really shine. Like a diamond.
Yeah.
So and I was taking it seriously. I was like working out, and I remember before that race, like I ate I had a protein shake and everything like that. I was really gonna have bought a hydro pack. And, I was really gonna take it seriously, and I did all right. I mean, I finished second to last in my class, and I think I got like 88 out of like 120 people. So I wasn't like dead last or anything like that.
So did you get the thirst for it at that point? Like, were you like, can't wait for the next one? Or
no, I was just like, holy shit, this is tough.
Yeah, it was kind of more than you signed up for.
Yeah, it was way more because you think an hour and a half of riding. I don't know, just for whatever reason, I was like, man, that sounds like fun. Because at the time, like me and Jason were riding the trails all the time, and I was thinking that it was gonna be like that. These nice big 4-wheeler or side by side trails. There's plenty of room, and I've been watching videos online. And I was like, dude, I'm great at the Kisatchie Forest. I can haul ass through there. And we got there, and it's not. It's like very difficult.
Tight and twisty.
There's tight and twisty. And there's also dudes that are professionals out there, and they're just flying past you, and it was very intimidating. It's super, super intimidating because there's hundreds of people.
I was
out
about
there.
to say, because it's like everybody not necessarily starts at the same time, but everybody's racing
You're
at the
all
same time.
yeah, you're all in the same. It's all so however many say 120 people are there. You're all 120 on the track at the same time.
Yeah,
And
I've definitely heard some nightmare stories about
It's
LACC
chaos.
races.
It's total chaos.
Just like roasting bikes in the mud and stuff like
for
that.
sure. I made that mistake earlier this year. I ran my first mud race. I ran my first and last mud race this year. I won't. It just tears your stuff up, and it's if you win, here's $100 check.
Yeah,
Good for you.
there's a big debate about that in AMA, which obviously Supercross and is king right now, and probably will be for the foreseeable
for
future.
sure.
But AMA in general, like racing at Swan or whatever,
Mhm.
like I know people have complained about for a long time that the prize money it's never worth it.
That's the same way with any type of racing.
Yeah.
It really is. I think the big thing has to nobody gives a shit about it.
Yeah,
It's not football. It's
Right.
not baseball. It's nobody cares.
the spectators are the parents and their girlfriends.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a real family-oriented sport. It's something cool. It's it's a single-player game.
Yeah.
It's not a team sport. Team sport, for whatever reason, football took off, and I'm, not trying to shit talk football, but I could care less about, organized sports. And it's another thing too that, like, going back to like guitar playing and welding, I like doing shit by myself. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need other people to have.
Did you
a
ever
good
play
time.
football
Once, and I hated it.
in Westridge?
Despised it.
Yeah,
I just hated getting yelled at, and I was, it's
Yeah.
just, I'm building character for you, son. And I was just like,
Yeah.
fuck you. I don't need
Yeah.
character. Like,
you were like, I felt like you were a little more mature, a little more like level-headed than
didn't-
a lot of us.
I
Like you just kind of knew what you wanted to do.
I don't like bashing into people either.
Yeah.
It's not fun to me.
Fair
I
enough.
don't like fighting, and I don't like hitting each other. Like,
Yeah.
it's just super counterproductive.
That was a weird thing for me because I'll tell you that I don't like to get in a fight, but I've like picked fights.
That's okay.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah. It's just kind of adrenaline rush, I guess.
I think that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Everybody has their different forms of adrenaline rush that they like to get. You played soccer for a long time.
yeah,
too.
yeah, I
You're
did.
super athletic, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate that. A little short, but it is what it is.
Gives you, I don't know. It has its advantageous kind of perks to it.
Yeah, I'm not
Tall.
complaining about it.
My knees suck.
Yeah,
They buckle all the time.
yeah.
They buckled on me the other week. I could be a great long distance runner.
Yeah,
Could have.
yeah. I
but it
tried to do that.
tear my shit up so early.
Fair enough.
But I played outfield in baseball.
Okay.
'Cause I got orangutan arms, and coach would always be like, "Dude, you can throw that ball really far. Outfield you go."
That was something that I also picked up, like, because I know I picked up the guitar at one point and tried
Mhm.
to play it, and I was like, man, I got these little fingers, and Nathan's got these big,
Yeah.
like,
Well, I noticed like all my heroes, I was like, okay, all these guys are tall, skinny dudes. Like,
Yeah.
And they kind of, that was the thing was like, I never really found and that's, you just try, growing up, you always try and find where you fit in.
yeah,
It's like, well, organized sports weren't it, like, okay, I was never like the super jacked up dude. So like, I just get demolished in football. I just get creamed, and I hated that.
yeah,
At basketball, I'm just not naturally talented at basketball.
Yeah.
I didn't have it. I'm just not good at basketball.
Yeah.
Loved watching.
I played basketball for 1 year at Upward. No, not Upward.
I played for Upward too.
I think it was
I think I played for West.
it was at the rec center
Oh yeah,
over by the high
Yeah,
school.
I played with
Uh,
that.
Me and I think me and Paul Turner were on a team together.
Oh, nice.
But I got fouled out every
What?
game. So I played basketball for 1 year, and that was it.
I was good at free throws.
And then I started playing soccer.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I played baseball, but like here we go again. I'll piss a couple people off. Types of dudes that play baseball, like at the time, maybe not now. I'm not calling every guy that plays, but they were douchebags. Let's
Yeah.
just call it how it is.
Yeah.
Like I just hated the dudes that I played with. They were all douchebags and like super pretentious.
I think I think that it doesn't necessarily carry over after they get out,
Mhm.
but during, oh yeah, for sure.
And it
I
just
mean,
was like-
I've fallen in line with that high school and in college. Like, I mean, obviously, I would say that there are people in high school that played
Mhm.
baseball that don't play baseball anymore that I could hang around.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of guys that I met in college they'd show up to the fraternity house or whatever and just disrespect the place. And
Yeah, I
just-
played baseball.
yeah, exactly. Just walk around with their chest puffed out, and it wasn't the place to do
Go
it.
back to first base, boy. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with
That's a
that.
great comeback.
But get your ass in the outfield. But I think that was the big problem was like all throughout growing up, I was just like, I was the guy in the locker room. Guys, it's just a game.
Yeah.
Like life's gonna go on.
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like it's not a game. It's real life.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, okie dokie then.
You have always been able to see that bigger picture, like, and and part of that, I guess, is because you have this incredible sense of like, you're a funny guy.
Thanks.
That's what I was trying to get at. But like, and so I know like you would mess with me, and I would freak out about it because I say I was just ignorant, and like I would let things like
Sorry,
that
Dan,
get
I
to
didn't
me.
mean to
No,
piss you off.
no, I mean it's all love now. But there's a lot of people in my life that push my buttons because
Right.
they know that they can.
We got to know when to stop.
For sure.
You got to know when it's like, all right, I'm really pissing him. I'm about
Yeah.
to get my ass handed to me. Like, I need to stop.
You were pretty good about that too. You would always come back. In the end, you're nice. So
Yeah.
I can't hate on you.
I liked you. That's how you
for
knew I
sure.
liked you.
Yeah, you definitely did, and I appreciated that.
So,
So I guess we're gonna jump back into moto
more
because
time.
I want to hear the story. Recently, you had a little tumble.
yeah, so to kind of catch up from where we left
Yeah,
off.
yeah, for sure.
So, hopped on the 250s, messed around with 252 strokes for a little bit. Really liked those. Still to this day.
2 strokes, easy to fix. Got enough power to
I
haul your
don't
butt
know.
around.
Just fun to ride.
Yeah.
Just lots of fun to ride. It just kind of goes back to it's just a game.
Yeah,
It's just a bike. It's just a lot of fun to ride.
yeah,
Makes cool sound.
Yeah.
Sounds cool on video. It's just something. I like the way they smell. It's just neat. There's something really old school about them, and like even for people that don't ride, they're just like that's neat.
Yeah.
They're just not.
Yeah.
4 strokes are very fast, and they're new technology,
Right.
technologically advanced and everything. And I have one, and it's very great, and I've won lots of races with it here and there, whatever. But 2 strokes just sounds cool. It's fun to ride, But
It is what you would classically think about a dirt bike.
yeah, when you think of a dirt bike, you think of the yeah, exactly. That's and then you'll always hear like the older guy. That's what I had growing up.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And so I got on that, and I did that for a while, and I really liked that one. But again, I just didn't have enough money to set it up the way I could, should have. I didn't understand how important suspension was.
I was about to say, in regards to suspension.
Yeah, I didn't have the money to do it then, so
Yeah.
I just kind of dealt with it, with with what was on there, and it just beat me alive for like 2 years.
And you're on a motocross track at this point, or still?
But
woods
back
race?
and forth.
Back and forth.
Yeah. At this was probably like I was really every day, every time I was riding, I was just picking. It was just like I was just eating it up.
Yeah.
Just every time. And I did that for a while, and then I can't remember. I started hanging out with Seth, and he got a 4-stroke dirt bike, and I rode it. It was just like, damn, this thing's like super crazy fast. Like
Yeah.
this thing's so easy to ride.
How did you meet Seth? Just at the track?
Met
or-
him from a mutual. Met him through a guy that I used to work with. So he was my manager at the time. This is a whole nother story. He invites us to come ride at his property, and we go down. We meet him. We meet up. We go to his property, and he's on this just like super clapped out KTM, like incredibly clapped out KTM. And all this dude ever talks about is how nice this shit is, and this, that, and the other. Dude, this bike sucks. It was a KTM 520.
Oh yeah.
4 gears.
Okay.
It sucked as a
Oh,
bike. It
man.
was a terrible bike.
I'd never get out of first.
You didn't have to because
Yeah.
the gears, it get you like 50 miles an hour. It was a terrible bike. It was a desert bike that KTM tried, and it failed miserably,
Yeah.
from my understanding. But anyways, so you meet up with this guy to go ride on his property, right? And he just leads us down this. And at the time, I take this really pretty 125 with me, and I'm meeting up with one of his buddies, this Seth character. And we all meet up, and dude, he takes us in the woods, like not hunting camp woods, like 4-wheel drive, like you need tow chain, and he just winding it. And my truck's not 4-wheel drive, and I'm just hammered trying to get this thing, trying to get this thing in there.
Let's say you were hammering.
Yeah, I was hammering the truck.
Yeah.
I was hammering the truck, just trying to get it to this spot. And I was
Right.
like, this is ridiculous. So we finally get there. Well, he can't get the damn thing started. And dude, he's kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking. And Seth just looks at him. He's just shaking his head at me. And at this time, I'm like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
He gets it. The mutual friend that we had met up with, I'm starting to understand, is a bit of an idiot.
Yeah.
And anyways, we ride around, and this guy's like, dude, it ended up being somebody else's property. It was not his property.
Yeah.
And they were really mad at him. And
Oh, they did know. He knew the people.
yeah, he knew the people, but he was not allowed on the property.
Right.
He was not supposed to be. He was like somebody's hunting camp.
Oh gosh.
And yeah, because I was like, these look like people's food plots. Like maybe we shouldn't just ride down the middle of them, you know? Like maybe we should just kind of like go off in the woods. I was trying to be really courteous. Yeah. I was like, I have a feeling we're not supposed to be here.
Right.
But he's like riding in the swamp and stuff, like got the bike buried. And me and Seth were talking. He was like, how much do you ride? Like this looks like a motocross bike, you know? And I was like, dude, I ride all the time. Like, let me get your number.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we just totally never hung out with that guy ever again after that. I think we rode with him like 2 or 3 times after that, and it was the same experience, you know, just goofy.
Yeah.
And me and him started riding in the woods with each other. I was like, man, let me show you some stuff, you know. Always looking for new people to I was looking for like a crew to ride with,
right.
you know. And so me and him went down to the woods and we rode a bunch. He ended up eating complete shit the first time we rode with each other and like just wiped out on a tree. And anyways, we started in the race in the woods stuff with each other, and
Gotcha.
that's how we met up.
Gotcha.
And just kind of history from that point forward.
Fair enough.
So anyways, so he has a 4-stroke bike, and I rode it around. I was like, man, this thing's really nice. You know, this is not what I remember. This is not a trail bike. You know, it was a trail bike, but it was a much more high-end trail. It was a water-cooled trail bike.
Yeah.
It was way faster, way more comfortable, and I could ride it super fast. I was like, man, I feel so much faster on this thing. So I sold my 2-stroke, ended up finding the world's best deal ever in existence in Texas on a Yamaha 450, and went and picked it up and immediately raced it the following day. And I did terrible because I was not used to them at all.
Yeah.
And it was very hard to ride. But anyways, I got way more used to it, and the suspension was nice, and the bike in it, but it was just like, as soon as I got that thing, it was like, just night and day difference from what I was doing. I started hitting jumps and corners and started actually like really growing.
Yeah, I'd know that like I'd come out there to watch y'all ride one day and like months ago, and then obviously we met up like maybe a month or so ago now, and I saw your confidence level jump
I mean,
up,
I feel it too. You know, it's way more fun to ride.
Yeah,
super fun to ride. And so, you know, I've had that bike now for like a year or so. And started racing in Texas and started like racing motocross and stuff and really having a blast doing that. It's a lot of fun, a bunch of fun. You know, once you can actually get your confidence up on it, and I think the big thing was just the suspension. It's amazing in what you can do. You can fall out of the sky from 50 feet and it's like it didn't even happen. It's pretty crazy. And they're just super fast too. They're just crazy fast. Ton of torque, and they're just, I thought, because I was really scared of them from the beginning, because I thought, you know, everybody, oh man, you blow one of them up, you better have deep pockets. Well, guess what? It's just like I've had it now forever, and it's like never given me any problems. You barely have to change anything on it, you know? So they're, in actuality, I think they're more reliable than 2-stroke.
But at the same time, you'd probably tear it down and fix it
every year.
Before
I always just tear it down just to check it out. I don't want it to grenade on me or anything like that. That sucks. You know, that's very capable of happening. Just pull the thing apart. Check your valves from time to time. Change your piston out every 100 hours. You know, it's just like change your oil, change your air filter. It's like little things. It's
just
like
maintenance.
Just do some maintenance on it, and they don't blow up. You know, and if they do, it was meant to happen. You know, it was, you know, But I'm not. It's not like I'm some A-class rider just ringing it out every time I ride it. You know, but I definitely utilize it. So, but yeah, and then fast forward to a couple weeks ago, I bought a 2-stroke off a friend of mine, which I had rebuilt. Jason, which had initially kind of gotten me into all this stuff, and I rebuilt his motor for him, and he rode the bike. Anyways, he ended up getting a new bike, and I bought it from him, took it out, we rode it Saturday, good times, it was a lot of fun, really missed being on one, I'm just having a great time, suspension's nice, bike's nice, you know, it was really crisp, I was having a lot of fun on it, it was, you know, just good old times.
Yeah.
Sunday, I get called to go out to another local track. I don't want to blow them up.
Fair enough. No free ads.
Don't want to, you know.
No free ads.
Don't want to. They've had a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But,
I've heard.
Yeah, I've had a lot of problems. And, anyways, having a good time out there. Bike's running super nice. It was a little bit of a muddy day, and bike's running super sweet. And I was having a blast out there. And towards the end of the day, something happened. Rear end kicked up on me at the end of a jump, and I endoed and actually caught the front end of my helmet whenever I hit the ground. So apparently I smacked my head pretty hard, and yeah, tore the bike up pretty good. Nothing I can't fix, but yeah, I ended up smacking the ground pretty hard. Definitely the hardest ragdoll I've had yet.
Yeah.
I knew something was messed
So
up.
you flipped forward totally.
Yeah, pretty much hit face forward. Stuck my arms out and tried to roll the shoulder.
Yeah.
To just try to barrel roll it as best as I could. It happened real quick.
Right.
There
of
was
course.
and I've been riding long enough that I kind of know all the trick, the panic rev and shift up and
Yeah,
all this,
yeah.
that, and the other, kind of bring it back. Man, there was no bringing this dude back. It went straight down, and I didn't have time to even leave the bike or anything like that. So as soon as I hit the ground, stuck the hands out to kind of break my fall, and it caught the front end of my helmet. And actually, I guess it yanked it down pretty hard.
The bike did.
No, the ground did.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I stuck my arms out like that, and as soon as my face hit, because I remember that, I remember looking at the ground,
Yeah.
and it just yanked my helmet. Bam. It yanked my helmet down, so it just pretty violently ripped my helmet down.
Yeah.
Had my neck brace on, had a good helmet on, had my safety gear on. Anyways, I eat it pretty hard. Never went to sleep. There was a guy behind me, and I crab walked off the track, as quickly as I could, and just lay there and was like, "Oh, holy shit!"
So were you conscious that he was behind you?
Yeah,
or you
I knew
just-
he was back there. Yeah, because I remember passing him in the turn. I took an inside line. He took the outside, and I was like, "I'm gonna hit this jump and just go around him."
Yeah.
I knew he was coming up behind me, and I did not want to get landed on.
Yeah.
So I was like, "I can get off." So I crab walked off the off the landing of the jump. And laid there for a minute, and it ended up, like pulling my pants down. Apparently, the bike caught my ass.
Yeah.
So I got a big, nice strawberry on my butt, and my butt's exposed for the whole track to see. And it hurt. It hurt so bad. And most of them you can get up and kind of walk it off, but I was like, damn, that one really hurt.
Yeah.
So
Probably gonna call it a day.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting up, and my friends helped me get the bike up off the ground, and they dug the mud out of the tailpipe. And, I cranked it up, and I rode it back to the truck, and tucked the tail tucked between my legs. But I rode it back to the truck, very slowly loaded it up and changed. And I hit my rib. So earlier this year in a woods race, there was a big whoop section, and I wasn't paying attention. So I'm kind of jumping from story to story here to kind of give you a little backstory. So earlier in a woods race this year, I was going through a whoop section. I had my hydro pack in my mouth, and I was trying to drink water, and I forgot the whoop section was there, so I kind of threw it down, and I hit the whoops super late, and ended up running out of gear. Bike stood up, and I landed on my side on top of one of the whoops and broke a couple ribs. That sucked. I had to sleep very uncomfortably. When this wreck happened 2 weeks ago, I was like, damn, I just did it again.
Yeah.
I've actually punctured a lung before, and I was like, I remember how that felt, and I remember how this felt. It hurt worse than when I broke my ribs. So anyways, I load up, come home, and I was just feeling really bad at this point. I was just hurting, and I was just like, I just really want to lay down.
Like just everything?
Yeah, actually, little secret for you, I cried on the way home. I was in a lot of pain, man. This shit hurt.
Yeah.
I was blasting heavy metal music and just trying not to think about it. I was just like, oh man, this shit hurts so bad. I was just super mad.
Yeah.
I was just really mad because it hurt so much.
Right.
And I tore my bike up. I just bought Friday.
Yeah.
It's Sunday. So I had to put Dad's Christmas lights up on the house too, and I was like, "There's no way this is happening.
Right.
No way in hell this is happening." So I go back to the shop, unload the bike, and I was like, "I'm gonna run home real quick and just kind of lay down, and just chill out for a second." And Seth calls, and we talked for a minute, and he's like, "How you feeling?" And I was just trying to talk, and it was very difficult because my ribs hurt so much. And he was just like, "You sound like shit. You should go to the hospital." And I was just like, you know what? I got insurance. Worst case scenario. I was just worried that I punctured my lung again.
Right. Yeah.
So I called Mom. Because Mom works at the hospital. She works on the peds floor.
Yeah.
With the kiddos.
Right.
And anyway, so I call her, and I was like, "Yeah, did it. Wiped out pretty good this time. I think I'm actually going to come to the emergency room and just get an X-ray done just to make sure I didn't do any more damage than I did."
Yeah.
And so, and I didn't even want Amelia to come. I was like, she was napping. I was like, you don't even have to come. I'll be back here in 3 or 4 hours tops. They're just going to X-ray me and be like, you did or you didn't. It's nothing you can really do about it. Take some Advil and suck it up.
Right.
So go to the emergency room, tell him what happened. Doctor comes, and I tell him, I was like, I was actually very reluctant to tell him I hit my head because I didn't get knocked out. I didn't feel, and I know with head injuries, because I do have I have a very small medical background from school. With head injuries, I feel nauseous. Eyesight gets blurry.
Confused.
Yeah, confusion.
I've gotten a concussion before.
Yeah. I mean,
past couple of years.
Then I drove home. I drove home an hour from where we were at. I drove.
Yeah.
And I knew exactly what happened, So I was reluctant to even tell him I hit my head. But I was just like, let's just go ahead and be straight with him.
Right.
Look, I endoed the bike. I hit my head, landed on my side. My ribs are killing me, though, Doc. I just kept going back. I was like, my ribs are killing me. I think I re-broke them or something like that. And I remember him saying, he was like, well, you told me that. I'm going to have to look at you a little more then.
Yeah.
So at this point, they admit me to like this little weird curtain room, start an IV on me, and I'm just getting annoyed at this time. Like, this is bullshit. Come on, let's go. Give me the X-rays.
Get the X-ray and get out of here.
Let's roll. I was like,
get some Dairy Queen.
I'm like, I'm feeling better. I'm ready to go home now. Now I'm regretting this, and so we go to take the X-ray, and I had to do one of these before. They give me they have to do the contrast dye. Oh man, it feels like, hot sauce going through your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do a CT of my head, and they put like one of the neck braces on me until they can clear me. And at this point, I'm just like, this is bullshit.
This is in West Monroe.
This is in West Monroe, and I'm just like, this is bullshit. My family's taking pictures of me, and it's big. We're all laughing, and it's ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Dirt bikes are fun, aren't they? And I'm just like pissed at this point. I'm just like, I'm ready to roll. I'm ready for them to clear me on all this. And then, so a while passes by, and I don't remember the sequence of events, but they bring me to like a trauma room. I guess the doctor wanted to talk to me. I didn't really think much of it. I was like, he's going to tell me that. I was like, because Mom, at this point, she starts to get a little more agitated, and she was like, I bet you ruptured your spleen. Something, you might have done a little more damage to yourself than what you think. So I'm like, maybe I did puncture my lung, maybe, it wasn't a fatalist thing at this point in time. Doc comes in and, sets the chair down in front of me thing, like a foot away. And I'm just like, damn, he's about to tell me something I do not want to hear. And I was freaking out at this point.
Yeah.
Now it's like 7 o'clock, and I checked in at like 4. So I've been there for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like really agitated. They did take the neck brace off after nothing was wrong with my bones. So comes back and he tells me, he's like, your soft tissue injuries just seem to be, just heavy bruising. Did you know you had some broken ribs? I was like, yes, I did, actually. I was very aware of that.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you didn't. You just pretty much agitated them. Everything looks fine on you. There was one problem, though. We did notice on your CT scan, we did find a very small bleed in your cerebellum. Holy shit. Like, wow.
My brain is bleeding?
Yeah, it turned white after that.
Yeah.
That was, up until this point, the worst thing I've ever been told in my life.
Yeah.
That was like super scary because my mom's sitting there and my girlfriend's sitting there, and Mom is pissed at this point. And, she's like, is this enough? Is this enough? I've kept you off of them your whole life.
Right.
Are you done now?
Yeah.
And so now I feel super guilty.
And I mean, shouts out to your mom, but she has kind of been that way for a long time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So, which isn't the worst thing in the
No,
world.
no,
but
by no means. I know she's just protecting you.
Overbearing sometimes.
She's
love you, Mom.
protected me and everybody else that came through her house.
She's kept me out of the emergency room successfully for 25 years.
Exactly.
So,
at least you're on your own injury.
Shouts out to that. So, not yet. I'm not 26 yet.
Fair enough.
So, anyways, he tells me I have a small brain bleed in my cerebellum, and it's just like a real, like, holy shit. Like, immediately just like, they're fixing to operate on me.
Right.
And I was really scared about that.
Yeah.
I was super freaked out about that. I'm like, okay, keep talking.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, here's the good part. I didn't notice it. The other doctor didn't notice it. The radiologist noticed it. And it's extremely small. Chances are it's probably clotted off. He's like, here's the good parts. You're super young. You're not on any blood thinners. You didn't go to sleep. You didn't get knocked out.
Right.
You're still walking and talking. You don't feel any nausea or anything like that. So we're looking good. And then he's just like, he follows up. He's like, have you ever been on a helicopter before? And I was just like, oh my God, this keeps getting worse and worse. He was like, yeah. And, at this point, he just like immediately, I know he was trying to downplay it as much as possible, but it's just some really heavy news to tell somebody
right.
that your brain's bleeding,
yeah.
And so you close your eyes and it's just like, how much? how much bleeding? And he's like, yeah, you're going to LSUS like now. I've already sent a request out for a helicopter. It'll be here in 15 minutes. And it's just like, and then he just gets up and leaves. You know, do you have any questions? And I remember.
So he didn't give you a choice.
No, not at all. We did kind of like, they don't, man, they deliver some news to you like that. Like, what do you say?
Right.
You know, what do I, I don't really have much of a rebuttal for that. I remember telling him straight up, I sat there and listened to it, and I was like, I looked at everybody in the room, and I just was like, well, this is fucking terrifying.
I mean, it's got to be tough though to like be in there for that long and be conscious the whole time, and like you say, just your ribs hurting, and then like they're like, no, you have to get in a helicopter because apparently your brain's bleeding.
Yeah, was not expecting that news. And like I said, I wasn't worried. Wasn't even a fathom because I didn't feel like I hit my head. I knew I hit my head, but not that hard. Like I've hit my head way harder than what it was. I've been knocked out before.
Yeah,
that didn't even knock me out. I saw stars whenever But anyways. I digress. But anyway, so it was a lot. That trauma room's and it's a trauma room. Whenever you're in a bad accident, that's where you go. You know, it's very bright and there's just metal everywhere and just lots of crash carts and it's very extreme.
Yeah.
And I've had a moment of like, just like, damn, like this is the closest I've ever been to dying thus far.
Yeah.
And so they called the helicopter, and, we tried to kind of, I think Mom said something about, like, does he need a helicopter, or can he ride on an ambulance or whatever? And, the doctor was just like, well, if it was my kid, he'd be riding on a helicopter, and I just, like, the first thing that crossed my mind was just like, how much is this going to cost?
Yeah, that's where my head goes.
I wish I could tell you. I'm afraid to even ask, you know. So, yeah, the helicopter shows, oh, man, I'm freaking out at this point in time. Like, holy shit, it's just like the end of the world to me at this time. I'm, like, holding Amelia's hand, and I'm fucking crying, and I'm just like, oh, my God, I don't want my last moments alive in this godforsaken just white operating room, I don't want to die in a helicopter.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really... looking back on it, good for you, pat you on the shoulder, but I was just like, do you guys have any type of anxiety medication? Because I feel like I'm about to have a fucking heart attack right now. Like, I am freaking out.
I don't have panic attacks, but I'm having a panic attack.
Dude, I was really freaking out. Shout out to LaToya, one of the ER nurses.
Okay.
Man, she was really helping me out. She was just like, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool. And another thing, too, is just like they give you this like super traumatic news and your mom's there. So you kind of revert back to being like, I felt like I was 12 again.
Yeah.
It's just like, take care of me, make this all go away.
Yeah.
And
what do they say? A man's the weakest whenever he's sick or something?
Dude, without a doubt, man's weakest when they tell him he's got internal bleeding, So that was really super, super scary. I don't know how else I could paint that picture to be even scarier, but that was definitely the scariest moment of my life. And then, you sit there for a little, and they just leave us in this fucking room.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, you got any more questions? And they walk out. And it's just like me, Mom, and Amelia. And I'm just like, dude, Mom's mad at me, and Amelia just doesn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
And I've just got tunnel vision at this point in time. Like, it's just like I can hear sounds at this, or just hear sights and see shapes.
Yeah, you're just kind of existing at that point.
Oh, dude, everything's flashing before my eyes, like every decision I've ever made in my life. And so they're coming in and just kind of prepping me for what's about to happen. And so the ER is right next to the helipad,
right?
And you hear the thing land, and it's you can damn near feel the gust of it, through the doors, and it sets in even more. It's just like, dude, this is real. It felt like I was in a dream at this point. It's just like, I can't believe this is really happening.
Yeah.
This is wild. And, the flight crew comes in. I think the biggest thing that really sucked about it was just new people. Every, 10 seconds, there's just new doctor, new person, new nurse, new somebody. Like, hi, I'm so-and-so. Do you know what happened today? And I'm like, yes, I know what happened today.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we were planning on coming home and, cooking pork loin and, drinking some beers and, hanging out. That was the plan.
Right.
Well, that's not happening at this point in time.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned about, staying alive at this. I don't even want to blink.
Yeah.
And so and I'm trying to keep it as light as possible. I'm trying to tell jokes while I've never really done this before, but just shaking super bad. Just are you cold? And I was like, no, I'm worried I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I'm really freaking out about that now. And so the flight crew comes in and they're asking me questions and they're hooking me up to their stuff, and they were really cool. Shout out to those guys. They were all super, super nice.
Yeah.
And they were just like, what a treat, you know. Most people that get to ride on these things are, you know, on the edge of death.
Yeah.
You're wide awake, you know. You
Yeah.
get to see.
We can have a conversation.
Yeah. So it was really cool. Those guys were super nice, and they definitely made it as accommodating as it could be. If you ever have to take a ride in a helicopter, it is definitely the most cramped thing. They basically have a tube that's big enough for a body to fit in there.
Yeah.
And they just slide you in and lock you in.
Yeah, so they like laid you on a table again
Yeah.
and rolled you
Yeah.
out there, and
Yeah. They
the
set me
doors
on
were
the
kinda
stretcher and-
split open in the back, and you just went right in
It's
there.
like it's like the back of the helicopter almost like peels back. So it's like a giant door,
Okay.
pretty much.
All right.
And I mean, it's a big helicopter, but
I've seen them land. I've had a weird opportunity. I've been stuck in traffic on I-20 going eastbound
Yeah.
2 different times in between Shreveport and Ruston, and a helicopter landed whenever I was the second car
Really?
in line. Like,
well, just
wild.
you watch $25,000 disappear into thin air right in front of your eyes.
Right?
But yeah, so they set you in this thing and they lock you in. They propped the stretcher up as much as they could so I could kind of see a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've never been in a helicopter before. You know, I've always wanted to ride in a helicopter.
Yeah, I never have either.
I thought they were really cool. I am terrified of heights.
Okay.
So the takeoff was a bit like, whoo, shit. Like I had to close my eyes for that. And they put the headphones on you and they give you a headset. And it's just like, if you need something, just speak up. And,
Yeah.
you know, you're on the same channel as us. And, you know, I watched them do the pre-flight and everything like that. It was wild. It was really wild. The flight there was pretty crazy. So from here to Shreveport's 93 miles. It cruises at, I was more, you know, I'm trying to think about the helicopter, not about the fact I'm just like
Right.
asking
Yeah.
helicopter questions. How fast should we go?
How fast do these things go, man?
What altitude are we at? You
Yeah.
know, what model is this? You
Yeah.
know, what kind of turbine engine is in this thing? You know,
Yeah.
just trying
You're
not
trying
to
to
think
keep your
about it.
mind as mechanical as possible.
Is that Calhoun down there? You know, and so just trying to really think of anything but the fact that I'm going to LSUS.
Yeah.
And so they were super. They let me wear the night vision goggles. That was
Okay.
pretty cool.
That sounds cool.
You know, they were like, hey, you know, he comes on the, you know, it does a little, you know, you want to wear night vision goggles? It's like, sure. So, and I'm sure he's telling the truth. I don't see why he wouldn't have a reason to, but he was like, you know, another good treat for you. He was like, our company has a special contract with the U.S. military. These are actually military grade night vision goggles. I mean, it looks like it how it does in video games and movies.
Yeah.
You can see perfectly.
That's awesome.
I could see a body from 200 feet up,
That's
you know, on the
crazy.
ground. So it was really neat. But yeah, so the flight from West Monroe there, you know, including takeoff and landing, was probably 40 minutes. Super fast.
Yeah.
But I anticipated, for some reason, I thought it was going to be like a jet plane.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was going to be like
Yeah.
instantaneous.
Yeah, like 15 minutes.
And then loaded me up to, so the helipad at Shreveport's on top of the building. That sucked. It's really cold, and you can just like stare down the building. And at this point, I'd kind of realized like I'm okay, you know, like it's cool. I'm here now. Like if I start to die, you know, I'm at the place I need to be at.
Right.
But yeah, not a shout out to Shreveport. It's pretty painfully obvious they did not give a shit about me there. They were like, they were. So this is kind of the part where I have to. We never know about the unknown, but I kind of have to trash it a little bit. Hindsight's 20/20. You know,
Right.
I'm all right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like from the minute I got checked in, like the first doctor I talked to, out of like the 100 that were there, I give him the spiel, you know, tell him what went on, you know, give him, I endoed, I hit my head, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And he like looks at his watch and he was like, dude, that was like 7.5 hours ago. If you know, if something bad was going to happen to you, it would have happened to you, you know, 7 hours ago.
Right.
He was like, you're probably going to be fine. We're just going to keep you here and just keep an eye on you. And yeah, that place sucked, man. Just like the emergency room nurse, like never checked on me, and I felt like I deserved a little bit more. You
Right,
know,
yeah.
I'm in the ICU, or I'm in the emergency room too. Like,
Yeah.
you come make sure I'm okay.
So they just like kept you up all night?
Nah. Well, Mom wouldn't let me go to sleep. She's like, they're gonna come in and wake you up, so you need to stay up. I
Yeah.
managed to make it to like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I was just still running off of like pure shock and adrenaline at
Right.
that point. And the ER room, you know, I'm still on a stretcher at this point. You know, like they just rolled me in and left me
Oh, so
there.
you didn't even get a bed, you didn't even get a room or anything
It
like
was
that?
kind of like a bed. If you just put like a piece of fabric over a piece of plastic,
Yeah.
it was kind of like a bed.
Yeah.
It was very small. Like I call it a stretcher. It was only big enough for one person.
Yeah.
You know, it was obvious. Like if something happened to me, they were rolling that thing out of there. And so like the ER, you know, a couple doctors would come talk to me. You know, ask me a couple questions, and they'd roll out, and then like 2 or 3 hours would pass, and they'd ask me some more questions, and they roll out. You know, I thought it was going to be like them coming in every like 30 or 45 minutes, being like, all right, you know, how many fingers, pull on my, you know,
Yeah.
pull on my fingers, and asking me all kinds of stuff, which they did kinda. They didn't really kind of hop to it until I was like, hey, and actually, I got again, I have to brag on myself. I have broken lots of bones and injured myself many times. I have never one time taken any narcotics in my life. Never. I've always just taken Advil and just been like, you know, hey. Well, maybe they did, but I was going to say, what do cowboys do? You know, they sucked it up. They put a splint on it and went on.
Yeah. Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah, it's the first time in my life I was just like, I need painkillers.
Yeah.
Like, I've really fucked myself up.
Yeah.
Like, this hurts really bad. It was mainly the strawberries, like, all over the side of my body. And I was like, I have to just lay on my back, and that hurts. I can't lay on my right side because my shoulder is yanking, and I can't lay on my left side because it's just raw meat right now. Oh, yeah, they didn't even let me shower or change my clothes. So I'm still in track clothes at this point, too. Like, I'm sweaty. My hair's got, like, dirt in it. I still have dirt all over my body from the wreck. And, yeah, so that place sucked. And I finally got a room at 4 o'clock in the morning. LSUS has shared rooms.
Okay.
So I got to hang out with some other cat in there.
Yeah.
Which was probably pretty awkward for him, too.
Yeah.
It's like 2 families in there. It was just really weird. It was a weird experience, and LSUS kind of sucks. I don't know how their, like, surgery is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good. Don't know. But, yeah, I felt like that's going to cost a lot of money for something I didn't really... I didn't get good service at that hotel.
Yeah.
And their food sucked ass. It was the worst shit I've ever tasted. Fruit cup was like the only thing tolerable. Their lemonade was good.
Oh, okay.
But everything
Sugar.
else sucked. Yeah, sugar. Well, they didn't let me eat, you know, because they were like, because I asked the emergency room, I was, can I eat? And she was like, you didn't hear it from me, but if you're going to eat, you better do it now. Like, she's really weird, man. She sucked.
That's weird.
Yeah, and she should have said, no, you can't eat because if you have to go to surgery.
Yeah.
But she never said that. She was
Yeah.
just, I don't know, she was a dick.
Yeah.
And, which I did eat some, like, crackers and peanuts, you know. I was just something, please.
Right.
I haven't eaten since lunchtime today, and now it's like 1 o'clock in the morning.
And I rode my dirt bike for a while.
Yeah, and I went dirt bike riding today. You know, it's not like I was doing that for like 10 minutes. I'd been doing that for hours. I was starving at that point. Still thinking about that pork loin. And, you know, they have his little TV in there. Just, of course, it's just like, I don't have television, but I never realized, like, how many commercials are just food.
Yeah.
You know? It's just like pizza, 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 and chicken wings. And it's just like, oh, shit.
All I can think about is food now.
And I'm in Shreveport, you know.
Yeah.
Just run me over. So they take me to the casino buffet.
Yeah, there you go. Where
But
the
yeah.
crab legs at?
Yeah, so I finally got to eat like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. Like, well, so it had been like 24 hours pretty much without any food. And I was just pissed at this point in time. I'm still dirty. Still hadn't had a shower yet. Just get me out. Get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was 2 weeks ago. And then last week I actually took off of work. I tried to go back to work. So that happened Sunday. So Monday, obviously, I spent in the hospital. Tuesday, I was like, I'm just going to take a breather, you know, just kind of get settled in. And Wednesday, I'll go back to work. Because I'm still, like, in the mind, like, I'm not hurt. I'm fine.
Right.
They put me in there for no reason. Nothing was even wrong with me. I told y'all. Yeah, I tried to go back to work. And so, like, the last time I had a concussion, I was very young. And obviously didn't have, like, responsibilities or have to, like, multitask or anything like that.
Yeah.
I went to work and had a very difficult time, like, opening doors and, like, just doing basic shit.
Wow.
I was just, like... So, like, I tried to get in my, like, service truck to work on trailers and stuff. And I was, like, having trouble finding switches. And I was just, like... That this
simple stuff that you
very difficult. I couldn't multitask. I couldn't ride in the truck with the music on. It made me like want to throw up. You know, I was just like it was just overwhelming. I put my earplugs in as soon as I got. I couldn't listen to the guys in the truck shop like do anything without just getting pissed. Just like if you don't stop doing anything over there, I'm gonna freak out.
Right.
And so yeah, I called Dad at like shit was so bright, man. It was like 10,000 times brighter than everything. I was like, oh my God, you know. Called Dad. I was like, I'm not trying to make a big scene, but can I go home? Like, I think it's the first time I've ever even like asked, like, can I please go home? Like, I don't feel well.
Yeah.
You know, of course, like.
You were in the hospital 2 days ago. He's not going to tell you no.
Well, you know, Mom and Dad's like freaking out about me because like I called Mom and was like, hey, I'm having some weird symptoms, you know, like so they're just worried about me.
Right.
Like, yeah, they're my parents. I understand. And so I came home and they just recommended just like, why don't you just take the week off, you know? It was just really weird. I think I was just mainly worried. I was like, man, I hope I didn't like permanently fuck myself. I hope I'm not. I just had like, I'd be in the shower and just start having a panic attack or, you know, just start thinking about it again.
Yeah.
And just like start going downhill, man. But this week has been very normal. I've like resumed normal life.
Gone
and-
back to work and
Yeah.
everything's good.
Yeah, everything seems to be normal.
That's awesome.
But given that story, now that you know, so like every time I talk to somebody, they're just like, "Holy shit, brother, are you okay?" You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
heard about the helicopter ride.
Right.
So when people hear about a helicopter ride, they're like, "Damn, you must have been in bad shape." I
Yeah.
guess your thought is like he's intubated and like he's just
Well, and it was kind of weird on the outside looking in, not being there, because Amelia's like posting some stuff, but at the same time she's posting like her and Claire like
goofing
joking
around.
and
Yeah.
messing around. So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, well, maybe Nathan is all right.
Well, I made it a point to like not get on Facebook and
Yeah.
be which I wanted to just to be like, "Hey, I'm fine."
Right.
But too many times I see people that like just milk that shit. And
For
it's just
sure.
like, dude, I need those likes, man.
Yeah.
I need those sweet likes. And I mean, I had mom took pictures of the helicopter and like some pictures of me and Amelia sleep. I mean, like pictures where I looked real bad. I'm dirty. Like my hair is dirty, and it's like I'm laying in the hospital bed. Like in a very weird position because I'm hurting.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit, he looks bad.
It's real bad.
So I was like, I'll share those a year from now and be like, a year ago today.
Throwback Thursday.
But yeah, I didn't want to I didn't really want to draw any more attention to it than necessary.
Right.
I felt like everybody else did that for me.
Yeah. Well, and I figured, so like that's why I'd reached out to Amelia that night or the next morning or whatever, and I just sent you a message, just told you I was thinking about you. And
thanks. I'm doing
yeah,
fine,
well, and that was the thing. Like you responded, and I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, I'm not worried about him anymore.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not
He's
that-
good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did reach out to like a couple of my friends and was just like, hey, before you hear it from somebody else, I just want to tell you,
Right.
took a helicopter ride tonight. Apparently, I hit my head a little harder than I thought.
Yeah.
But I'm fine. I should be good. I'll let you know in 24 hours. But
So life's back to normal. You see getting back on the bike anytime soon, or are you gonna just take some time off?
yeah, I'm
and-
gonna take some time off from
Yeah.
it. I think the big thing right now is that.
I mean, obviously it's like we're cold and rainy here every day.
Yeah, so it's really
anyway.
cold right now, but I think the big thing is it's just kind of terrifying now, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
yeah.
It wasn't that bad of a wreck, but it was just the experience in itself was really traumatic.
For
Like,
sure.
It really fucked with me.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
imagine so.
first time I've ever like been, apparently I was very much closer to death than what I thought.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how. I like to downplay stuff really bad.
sure.
My arm was broken. I was fine. I can
Well,
still
that
go
was
to work.
that was another thing I heard about the night. Is like I heard as soon as you got in the helicopter, you were like, "You guys want to go to Cane's or something?" like that?
Yeah. I was like
And it's
dicking around with
that
them.
was the first thing I heard from about the night, and I was
Yeah.
like, "That's like the most typical Nathan
Yeah.
thing I've ever heard in my life."
Yeah,
So,
they're strapping me in the thing, and I was like, "Boys, I'll get up and walk in this motherfucker. Y'all don't need to strap me. I'm not running away. I'm paying for this, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna enjoy every second of this ride." So I was just trying to play it cool and just trying to keep my mind off of it and joke with those guys, and they were being really cool about it. So, but yeah, as far as getting back on the bike, I mean, I know I'll probably ride again one day, but it's just like I'm gonna be afraid,
Yeah.
forever past
Yeah.
this point. And it wasn't even a big jump, it wasn't even like this humongo jump.
like
that
you say, it was just the whole experience afterwards.
yeah,
that
it was
kinda
really just the whole thing of
put the
just
scar in.
holy shit, you can get really hurt doing this.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. You never think about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it would have happened when I was driving, you go back, and then I went back and I told mom, and I was like, you know what, I think you have to look at it from a lot of different standpoints. But I'm okay because I wore all my safety gear.
Yeah.
I'm not dead because I wore all this. I wore the proper stuff, and I'm okay.
Yeah, I
And-
know a big neck brace study just came out talking about how
Yeah, I'll
how
have it on
useful it is.
forever now. Won't even.
And that's something that I've definitely noticed
Yeah,
just filming guys like the guys that don't wear them. It's like, what are you doing?
makes me feel safer.
Yeah,
Gives
I mean,
you like that extra little blanket of security.
For
I'll
sure.
definitely, it'll forever be on my neck no matter what. Even if I'm just cruising. It's just a little safety precaution.
for sure.
Um,
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
thanks, man.
I'm glad you came on the podcast.
Appreciate it, brother.
I really hope that we can do it again.
Absolutely.
I really hope you can
It's a
be
lot
a
of fun.
regular guest. We have a lot of stories that
Yeah.
we've gone through together, and
Go on for a couple more hours.
yeah, and times that we were apart as well. So
for
we
sure.
can definitely catch up on some stuff.
Well, I appreciate it,
And
man.
you have a very creative girlfriend, so I'm sure I'll be
Yeah.
speaking to her soon.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
and,
man.
We'll do it again sometime.
Appreciate it, dude. Appreciate it.
Peace.